There he is.
What's
Morning,
happening?
sunshine.
Morning. Let me throw on the camera here. There we are.
There
So
we
what?
go, Golden. Well, hey, guys and gals, we are back with our next rock star who is doing amazing things. He is a co-founder of Evergreen Profits, and this guy is also the co-host of the Hustle and Flowchart podcast. Hustle and Flowchart Mastermind Group, which does an amazing job. If you have not listened to their podcast and you're a marketer, you're not a marketer. All right. Because Joe and your buddy Matt Wolf over there, both great friends, are just doing an amazing job, Joe. So welcome. Thank you for being here. I know it's bright and early out there in sunny California for you too, huh?
Yeah, not too sunny either. So what the heck? Yeah. But yeah, no, it's all good, man. I'm happy to be here. And you're always a beast with these live streams here too, bringing all the cool people together.
We try to. It's always not, it's easy when you bring 24 of your good friends together for a
Oh,
day.
yeah.
It's a fun thing, right?
Yeah.
So let's share a little bit. What is Evergreen Profits? What's the Hustle and Flowchart podcast for those that don't know who you are right now? Let's dive a little bit into that, huh?
For sure, man. Yeah. So Hustle and Fluid Chart, I'll start there. It's been about 4 years long for that podcast now. And that's kind of like our discovery engine for our business. So you don't really see the business behind the scenes until you kind of start going through the rabbit hole, which is engineered on purpose. But I would say it's a rabbit hole full of just free, cool stuff and like interesting things. And we try to make it where folks could kind of self-select what they like, and like you said, there's a whole membership section behind there where we actually send a physical newsletter in the mail. And I have a digital copy. I know I always look around. I'm like, I really should prepare and always have one on my desk here.
I've got it sitting on my desk. I was going to grab it last night, and I forgot to completely make it there. So it's sitting there. I just got the recent episode. But that's
Nice.
the thing. You've done something really cool with a newsletter, a physical newsletter. I don't want to take us off track, but it's such a cool thing that really drives. It'll also help you kind of monetize your message a little bit too, huh?
Definitely, man. Yeah. So that's kind of like it is the lowest barrier to entry in that you're paying for. And essentially this pays for our costs. So our podcast costs, it pays for the fulfillment, the printing. And we monetize it through that, affiliate offers, sponsorships. We're doing partnerships now where we're getting equity or royalty in companies that are relevant to ones that we just promote, which is just an extension of the podcast. It's really cool, man. So it's like we're just kind of like finally finding 4 years in, finding our flow, and we're like super pumped up about everything we're doing. And it's a podcast. That's really what it is.
Right, but that's the thing. You've twisted. You really started off doing a lot of affiliate stuff.
Yeah.
Initially, with software and products, and kind of be the hey, use this because we love this. This works, or hey, this didn't work so well.
That's
kind
it.
of that being that true.
Yeah.
Modern
No,
mechanic, right?
That's what we do. So like the reason we even started the podcast was straight up to just share the cool stuff we're learning. But then it was like, hey, we know a lot of cool people too from our previous days before the podcast. We just had a good network. We've always made that a big priority for our business because that opens up doors. So we're like, cool, the podcast is just going to do that even more. And then we just leaned into that. And then now it's just kind of become this interesting web of connections. And then, we're helping this person, but like connecting with this person and then triangulating ourselves within the deal with really big name folks now. And we're like, how the heck did that? Like, I'm almost like pinching myself, but it's just from just being consistent with content and being cool with people. I mean, it's not rocket science.
Right. Let's talk a little about that because you guys are doing how many episodes on a monthly basis, and then kind of what's your marketing or posting schedule around those episodes?
Yeah. So we're at 2 episodes per week, so 8 in total per month. It started off as just 1 per week, and then we just had too much demand for other people to come on the show. And we've been tempted to push it further, but we're like, hold on. Let's just keep it at 2. We don't want to overwhelm folks. We have a good tendency to do that because we get too excited. So yeah, 2 a week. We've done that. We've never missed a release schedule. So I think that's kind of rare for a lot of, podcasters, not so much maybe, but like for business owners, I don't know. It's just like we find ourselves in an interesting spot being digital marketers where we're marketers first and podcasters second, even though we kind of started around the same time. I think when we say that, we're like, we never missed a beat for 4 years, but what? Huh? That was it has become because we just systemize everything. We batch record. Typically we batch record everything. Sometimes we have some oddball days, like yesterday we'd recorded a couple. Totally cool though. And Yeah, I mean that saves us. We're always like 3 to 4 weeks ahead on our recording, so we never have to worry about us missing a beat.
You've done a really interesting thing in taking your episodes and having somebody sit there and you have a note taker for your own episodes. Why wouldn't you guys do it? You know?
Because we're lazy. Come on, no, because they're going to find better gold out there than we probably could, to be honest. Matt started by taking the episode notes, and I'll just rewind really quick. So we take notes on every single episode that's live on the show. Like we might put some bonus episodes here and there on the weekends. We're not really going to do notes on every single one of them, but those things are free for a couple weeks, and that's our lead gen. That's our kind of our bribe offer on the episode. We'll just call it out. hustleandflowchart.com/comp. Yeah, 2 weeks to get it. And, we always put a little container around a scarcity play. And then it goes locked up into the membership of the physical newsletter or digital version. So it's all an extension of the podcast. Everything starts with the podcast and really always circles back to it in some format, and it's really cool because throughout this process, we realized we're creating raving fans throughout the whole dang thing too. And I mean, you're probably well aware of it. Obviously, when you go to a place like Podfest, like a conference where we all meet up, you start getting approached with all these people that are just like, "Oh, what's up, Scott?" And they're maybe giving you a big old hug. Well, maybe back in the day, and talking to you like they're just like they know you forever, and you never met them. That's the weird thing. And you're just like, "Who are you?" And but they know like everything about you. It's just the podcast, and it's that relationship builder.
Now, one of the great things that you guys have done is let's dive into it is with your Facebook group, your Facebook community.
Yeah.
You really have transitioned people from being listeners into the community, and talk about kind of that nurturing aspect. What are you guys doing in the community that people may not see if they're not a member of the community?
Yeah, so that I got to give a big shout out to Molly Mahoney. I know she's speaking later today. Good buddy. And she was on our podcast live on there, and she was like, "What the hell are you guys doing? Like your podcast is Hustle and Flow Chart, and your community on Facebook is Evergreen Profits Community, blah, blah, blah." I don't know. It was like a long name. And she's like, those things need to be together. One, same name, same colors, all that stuff. Your face is on there. So we did that and basically revived this old group that we had maybe like 500 people in. But the interaction, there was like nothing. So kind of starting from scratch. And then we rebranded it and came up with a rough system to like, hey, every Monday we'll welcome new people. Wednesday is kind of like share something cool that you like a tool or something that you're using in your business or a problem you're having. So to gauge and, get interaction up. And then Fridays are, typically it's like share a link on what you're working on right now. So it's kind of like, hey, go promote yourself. So we give that opportunity. And it's worked. So it's like that engagement now in the group is like the same, if not a little bit more than our email list, which is ridiculous and kind of is a shot to our ego a little bit too, because we worked really hard on that email list. So,
right.
But yeah, man, it's just a free shout out on the show. We kind of sprinkle in call to actions. We like to experiment with things. So we just say, hey, that's a free group you can go into. It does ask for, a few questions right there in Facebook that you can put in there in a group, which I highly recommend. Is, ask them like, what's their biggest problem? Are you, I think we asked them, are you a listener to the show or are you a subscribed to the show? And then what's your email address? And we're blatant on there and saying, hey, we will send you stuff, like cool special offers and other cool stuff we're up to. 80% conversion rate on the email entered on that thing. We're just like, whoa, what? Like our opt-in pages don't do that. And so that's cool. And that's just because I don't know why. It's probably because most are coming from the podcast. They trust us. They know us. Right. They're not cold traffic. I think that's the power here. And then from there, of course, we're adding them to our email list. And then tagging them as such is like, hey, they're a member of the group. Now they go into our follow-up sequence, which isn't too long because we email almost every day. But sounds like a lot, but that's what people honestly asked for. And our engagement rates go up. So it's crazy.
So how are you feeling that daily email? Is it a different topic, different article? Different software, different tool? How long are those emails? Are we talking they're not a book?
Nah,
they're a couple paragraphs, right?
Yeah, it's shorter recently. It's all Matt that does the writing of the emails. I do a customer email every Monday, but so Matt's more the outside emails, and yeah, typically they're pretty short. They're what Tuesdays and Thursdays are our podcast days, so we're talking about the podcast, and typically those are like an open loop email. They're not going to tell you, it's not going to be like show notes in email form. I feel like that's just kind of lazy, to be honest, but it's just not going to give you the benefit that you're looking for. It's not intriguing typically, unless your show notes pages are just rocking, which hopefully. And maybe we could chat about that too, actually, Scott, because I have some SEO tips that we can talk about since traffic is a biggie. But yeah, like actually put some thought into like what's going to engage curiosity in the subject line, but also in the body of the email. Like the subject line typically isn't going to be your guest name unless it's some, household name that everyone's going to know. So think about those emails. Yeah, Tuesday, Thursdays are those. I think Monday and essentially Wednesday, Friday. Friday is like a flex day. That's kind of our experimental day. But yeah, Monday and Wednesday are kind of like if we have a promotion going on, we'll typically wrap that in there. But it's always in content. So we're always teaching a lesson, and it might go to a blog post that teaches a little further with the opportunity to go speed up the process or make your life easier by buying this affiliate tool or training, whatever it is. So it's kind of, yeah. So we're always giving value throughout everything, but we're giving people an out if they want to just invest a little bit more or put a little bit of time or opt into this thing and speed up the process.
What are you seeing as price points for helping you monetize that stuff? What are you seeing that does really well, converts well for people?
Ooh, dude, it's crazy. Right now, it's the free offers or the free plus shipping book offers. So, I know these are big, but like we've just really realized, like, holy crap, it's so easy to. People love them because it's the things like the Russell Brunson books that have been coming out. We've had him on the show, so that was like inherently a promotion that we did. So we're like, cool, traffic book, go get it for free. I mean, you're paying for shipping, but it's like $7. And what we know is like if we send traffic to marketers who are really dialed in on their funnels and back end, well, let's lead with a really killer offer that people are going to love, that people are asking for. It's the topics that they're interested in. He was traffic, so it's perfect for us. Another one recently is Mike Filsame's Groove suite of everything. And it's like he's literally giving free access to a page builder, cart builder, and all that. So we had him on the show, push him into there, and people are just eating it up. And I think each one of them will be about a 5-figure type promotion just from sending just a handful of emails, couple posts in the Facebook groups, and bringing them on the show. And it's just trusting good marketers and ethical people, to kind of basically take care of your folks afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the biggest thing because your audience trusts you. You're never going to bring somebody that you distrust or you don't use or don't. That's one of the biggest things about what you and Matt have done. Hey, this is software we're actually using. Here's what we're doing. And you've actually had some of the companies that you've done that for actually reach back out to you and say, hey, we love you. Thank you. Let's pay you, right?
Oh, yeah, all the time, man. So that's the easiest way is the affiliate marketing side, yeah. But then now it's starting to become very interesting where they're like, hey, can you just be on our team or work together as the marketing arm? Because that's what we're just promoters at the end of the day. We're just creating content, talking about cool stuff we love. And like we used to try to do all the fulfillment and all that other stuff. We're like, that's just not us. Like, and it doesn't excite us. So we're like, you're not going to get our energy on that side of the thing. So maybe we just don't play there. So it's I don't know. It's interesting, man. It's there's a lot of opportunities coming. It's just from this.
Well, but you did something. You tried it, realized it's not where your energy is, not where your expertise. So you're just like, listen, is it easier for us to share a link or two or write an email versus trying to go fulfill everything?
Yeah.
And be that back end and support. Let the companies handle do that and get paid and move on there.
Yeah, man.
But let's bring it back. You talked about you've got some SEO secrets, some hacks for those out there. Let's dive into that now. Huh?
Yeah. So this is let me close a couple things here, and I was going to share my screen.
Perfect.
Yeah. So there's some slides, and I'm just going to steal some slides that I had at Podfest. Chris won't care.
No, because it was the #1 breakout session of the whole place.
Dude, it was amazing.
Room only. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was crazy. Actually, this one was from so we've been modifying those Podfest slides a lot because they're just such a hit. So but yeah, so what we noticed recently is people have been noticing our SEO with our podcast. And I figured like this would be a perfect point to just show podcasters who have show notes pages. They have this platform, they have this opportunity, but most people aren't thinking about filling out and creating a really solid show notes page that actually will allow you to rank in Google and get traffic based off of these guests that you're bringing on. And obviously they're not all big name guests, but that doesn't matter. The idea is rank for their name. So that's what you're looking at right here is basically this is just one example. We had James Altucher on the show, and I don't think we're actually ranking for him, but I'll show you a couple other pretty awesome names that we are ranking for, which we just realized recently, we're like, holy crap, cool. But it's doing this. And I'll show you a show notes page too, is we use Yoast SEO in the back end, and we're always targeting the guest name. So you can see over here, this is kind of like a couple screenshots from the back end, but it's not rocket science after you see what we do. And all we're doing is using this back end. I think we use the free version of Yoast SEO in WordPress. It's a WordPress website. Turning all the lights green, honestly, is all we think about and all we do, which it kind of tells you what to do. So it'll say like, okay, you have a couple of links that you want to go point somewhere. That looks good to Google. Cool, we did that. Good job. So we probably pointed it to some of James's resources that he gave us. That was easy. And then internal links. So we're always linking to 2 other episodes that are kind of relevant to this episode. So that helps Google as well. Cool, green light. And then you could see, it's just kind of self-explanatory, key phrase and introduction. Cool, we're talking about the key phrase. You can see right down here, James Altucher. And then, basically the phrase length, they'll kind of tell you, okay, based on the amount of words, that looks good to Google and all the search engines. And we just go down the list. And it's kind of crazy. It takes a little bit of time, but now SEO has become our number 1 traffic source by far. And we do a lot of we try to do everything with traffic, social, with ads and, getting on other shows and all that stuff. But SEO wins out, man. And it's really cool when we started digging into this, because we got asked to be an SEO speaker at some traffic thing. And we're like, we're not SEO experts. What are you talking about? Then we started looking, we're like, oh, shit, I guess we're a little better than we thought. Like, we had no clue, honestly.
Tattoo SEO to my ass, because I am one, with the tools that you use. Huh?
It's wild, man. So I'm going to share my full screen. Can you see that there?
Yeah, sure can, with all different episodes, yeah.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show just one of them, just to show the show notes page of like how we so basically the episode is kind of like, or the show notes page is kind of like a mini sales page for each episode. And that's how we like to see it. And right now it's our team doing it because we've just dialed in the system so much. But you could just see the amount of text. This comes from like a mix of their bio, but also a lot from the interview that we'll just custom write. And then, of course, you're seeing the links that I was just mentioning. So this is a resource out. This is an affiliate link. So that's one way to do it, is a link out. But you could see some previous episodes we also linked. These are those internal links. But it's just the length. I feel like if you just look at these, this is a little bit more in depth than most show notes pages. And the bullet points are there to kind of intrigue and get the curiosity, the thinking machine to hit that play button right there. And then don't actually play. There we go. So yeah, this is all it is. And then it's just using Yoast in the background. And then we basically started looking at all the names, like this one guy here, he's a biohacker. We basically cover the whole first page of this guy, and you can see including YouTube as well. So repurpose.io, I think you're buddies with Hanny. That's all we're doing here on YouTube. We're starting to do a little bit more on YouTube, but right now this is the automated way that makes us look kind of everywhere. We don't do anything on YouTube technically. And mutual buddy Roland Frazier, I was chatting with him yesterday and I was scrolling down. I was like, oh, hey, there we are. And then there we are again above Crunch Space and his own podcast. We're like, oh.
That is always when you can do your own marketing to beat Roland in his game, when you rank higher for Roland than something done. Oh, total ego stroke there, isn't it? Right?
I was chatting with him yesterday, so I only wish I knew this prior to chat with him. I might have to text him. Like, sucker.
Especially since he just wrapped up a 5-day challenge, a 5 or 6 day challenge with finding businesses. Hilarious. That is awesome. Yeah, you should. He would be proud.
He would be. I know.
Proud father, right?
He is. Well, yeah, and it just really, I don't know. I'm just noticing all these names. I mean, looked up Ryan Dice, Perry Marshall, all these. Like, I'm just like, holy crap! This thing's kind of working here. So, I don't know if I could chat about more hacks and stuff, or if you want to riff on that for the remaining time we got here.
Well, let's bring up. You've got some big names in the marketing field, and why don't we talk about those that maybe want to interview, do an article, have them on a podcast. You did something very unique with your top 100 list. I think it's a big thing. I think a lot of people miss out on it. I'd like for you to spend a little time talking about on that before we wrap up your time here. So what is your top 100 and kind of what did you do to make that happen?
Yeah, so this goes back to Roland now. This isn't the Roland show, I promise. But I was in a mastermind with him. We occasionally meet in San Diego here. And I asked, or he asked us, he's like, hey, what are you guys looking for with your podcast? And I was like, we just want more guests, like really cool name guests. And he's like, okay, well, make me a list, like call it the, Dream 100 or whatever you want to call it. And he's like, send it to me. So I did, that day we made a list. I wasn't going to hesitate. So sent that list to him, and then the next morning I opened up my email and I had like 30 introductions from Roland and all these lists of folks, including people like Dave Asprey from Bulletproof and Perry Marshall, I think was one. Some of these big names that Ryan Dice was on there, and basically his whole network opened up. And there were other ballers on there I can't even remember right now, but it took my whole day away. So I was like, cool, all right, well I got a lot of follow up to do now. And in doing that, I made a Google Sheet. So that was where we listed all the names. And it's key, Google Sheet. And then we use G Suite for our email, or you can use Gmail. But any kind of Google email property, that's the key, is to connect those two together. So what I realized when I linked that Google Sheet and that email to Roland is that it kind of tagged a little attachment-like thing. It's not truly an attachment, but it's like a preview of that sheet linked in the email. I was like, what the hell is this thing? That's interesting. Didn't think much of it. But then I started sending more, I kind of looked at some of these other emails I would share that list with, and I would see it's always an attachment. I'm like, oh, that's cool. What if I just put that in my signature, my email signature, as that same link? Then I realized when I started doing that, every first email, it's not every email, every first email I send has that little attachment kind of below the email. So it's like an intriguing thing. Again, it's curiosity. So since doing that, like, no kidding, it's like twice a week, even if it's like my bookkeeper I'm emailing or someone else, they're like, hey, I was peeking at your Dream 100 list again because it was just sitting there. And, I know that person. I'm going to do an introduction. Or maybe it's like, I know a person like that person. I'll introduce you to them. So this has literally automated our networking for us, like our introductions to not only the podcast, but just cool people we should know. Because on our sheet, it basically says like, hey, we'd like to meet cool people, and the podcast is where we like to chat with them. But so send your introductions, and we're always going to pay it forward or pay it back to them as well. But that's the strategy. It's not rocket science, but it's so cool.
And it is a very cool thing because it's a warm email, warm intro versus a cold email intro. It leads to a much friendlier conversation about getting you booked. You build credibility immediately, right?
Oh, dude, we literally, this is why we probably could have a daily show if we wanted to, but we have a business to run and a life to live too. So, like, not like you.
You got a little one there in the house too. A couple little ones, remember, right?
One right now. Yeah, we did some fostering before, and yeah, it was multiple then. That was chaotic, but yeah, little one now. She's 8 months and she's rocking. So it's that's why I have my Crisp app. If you guys aren't using Crisp, oh my God, it's a lifesaver. It's that noise cancellation, so she could be screaming right next to me, and you won't even hear it. The podcasters, awesome.
You got the noise canceling Buzz headphones on, don't you?
Yeah, oh yeah, man, I'm all decked out. But yeah, I mean, I would challenge anyone to figure out how to use that Dream 100 strategy, because you can use it not just as a podcaster, but think about just if you want introductions. And you're just sending emails. You're sending emails to all walks of life. It's not like these are just going to people who are networked and are going to like send them to like just your daily emailing practices. You'll see introductions start to show up, and you don't know where they're going to come from. Like it could be some wild people coming from like your bookkeeper.
You know, this thing, we're all so connected closer than we've ever been before.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all not 6 degrees away from Kevin Bacon. We're all 1 degree from the slice. You know what I mean?
It's true. Yeah.
You know, when you're talking with other marketers, what is one of the things that just drives you bonkers, a mistake that you see people making all the time?
Oh man. Well, I would say if you're trying to get on podcasts, think about the actual person you're pitching. It's more like just start a conversation with them. And so I would say, at least now we're seeing like I get probably 3 or 4 emails a day of people trying to go on our podcast. And I know other podcasters here are feeling the same thing, but it's kind of become kind of an issue and more of a clutter and an annoyance more than anything, it feels like, unless it's someone who's genuinely, you know, thinking through the whole conversation, maybe sharing a video on Loom. Like I love doing that. So it's a whole personality. Your personality comes out, you're doing something different. You're acknowledging the person and their show and what's cool and unique. I would say just start the conversation, try to connect with people, because a lot of marketers are just thinking, oh, they're just on a screen. They're not a person. But it's like, dude, no, we're all people, even though we're in lockdown or in this crazy weird time. Remember the connections and relationships. I think they're going to go way further than you think right now.
Yeah, anytime you can personalize that by just sharing your personality, I think it's a huge tactic these days. You know, we had a few of the previous people on there. We got our next cat who definitely has a lot of personality, but that helps sell. It also helps people identify you, get to know you, build that rapport virtually, so that when you do meet in person, the rapport's already built, right? Dude,
it's and an app. I mentioned Loom. I would highly recommend get Loom, Loom. I mean, I thank every podcast guest afterwards with my iPhone, you know, on a Loom video. And it's just, you know, people thank me. They're like, dude, that made my week. That made my day, you know. And I'm like, no, all I did was just go in my backyard with my iPhone and say thanks. But people love it, man. It's the little things.
It's the little things. Get in my backyard. Hey, thanks, man. It was great talking to you, Joe, and sending a video off or email out. All those little things, text message, video, email, whatever. That's what separates the creme of the creme from the rest of the milk out there. Right?
Nailed it. Speaking of that, I need to go make a latte with some nice milk now.
Really
I didn't have my coffee yet.
Oh, we got you pre-cafe there. Buddy.
Hey, I got my baby. I'm like trying to be jacked here.
You picked the time slot.
I know.
You know that. You picked it.
I'm out playing later in the day. I'm going to the beach, so I figured I'd do this early.
Well, there you go. Exactly. We appreciate that. Yeah, it's been a little bit noisier wind there in San Diego for you. But what's the best way for those here that are watching? Here in the United States, but around the world to connect with you, to find out more what you guys are doing?
I would say the best way is go check out the podcast, hustleandflowchart.com. And if you want to go join that Facebook group, I think that would actually be a really cool spot. It's free. It's flowchartgroup.com. So flowchartgroup.com, get you in there and you can hang out with us and ask some questions and stuff.
Yeah, definitely great group, great amount of people. You guys did a great job at the mastermind event you did on the
man.
Podcast. I'm glad we went.
I'm so glad you guys did.
Yeah, same here, man.
Is Steph good?
Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah.
You get you a latte and have fun at the beach, all right?
All right, brother. Thanks, Scott. See you.
Bye.